that second state of consciousness in which we live, that state of sleep, which by definition is distraction, is being hypnotized by the outside world, is engaging automatically in our personality and so forth. And the privileged moments, as Carlfried Durkheim calls them, of a higher moment of consciousness that Gurdjieff would call the third state of consciousness, self-remembering, those moments when suddenly we're snapped out of it and see from a wider perspective. It is the link between those two, how to go from that, recognizing that state of sleep, which in itself is a quantum leap. That should be evident. The entire world lives in this state unknowingly, assumes that man is conscious when he is not, and we have to break out of that powerful illusion. And Gurdjieff, regardless of whatever flaws one might find about him, was an absolute master in understanding and communicating all that. In the 1920s, he knew that he was walking into a Europe that had no sense of the holy, as did the world that he came from, gone totally atheist and intellectual, and of course now it's more than ever. And it's to that world that he found a way to communicate these things. And so it is tailored for us to know quite naturally that, well, of course, here I am falling back into that second state of consciousness, where my multiplicity, my buffers that hide the contradictions, my reactivity, stimulus response, the type of person I am, letting the imagination fly around randomly, all this phenomena keeps us from that singularity of wisdom and perspective that comes to us in those rare moments of another state of consciousness. But we have the tools now to develop observing eye, that thread of attention. And one of the things that I've loved from the beginning is that it is the use of attention and life force, energy, the most primal elements that we have access to. It is those simple tools that become the magic to entering another quality of consciousness, which Gurdjieff has said sometimes will experience it in a moment of great peace, on vacation on a beach, separated from all the stimulus and identification. Or even in a moment of great fear, we can be blown out of ourselves into that state. And Uspensky tells us, through our life, we have had these moments. We just didn't realize what they were and what they meant. Now we have the context to put that together. That yearning that is so intimate, so personal, so part of you, so private. That's not just your yearning for something. That is Holy Spirit already active within you, already guiding you, pointing you, motivating you, inspiring you, pushing you. It's already present in you. It is not just you by yourself attracted to certain kinds of ideas. It is God leading you to the incarnation of the very purpose of your existence, which is this consciousness and love of God, which naturally translates to helping others and doing all the good things you do, etc. But the doing all the good things is entirely secondary to the Shema of Israel, the prayer. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul. That's the Shema, the ancient primal spiritual awareness of the people of Israel, which then the Christ says, what is the one thing? And it is that prayer. And that is the full manifestation of you as an individual in this life. That self-observation that sees the momentum of negativity, recognizes it, is able to transform it, to make another choice. All of these methodologies that are precisely for that purpose to lay the groundwork for that state to be present, to be longer lasting. These are ideas that have nuclear power. When you know what it means to pull out of identification and what kind of new force that gives you, to render personality passive, to not inner consider, to let essence emerge, to quiet the random associative eyes, to not be those eyes. All of those elements lead directly to what your hope is, to live in those states.